Good morning. Today's next text will come from the book of 1 Kings chapter 3. Today's sermon will come from 1 Kings chapter 3. I begin reading to you at verse 16. Verse 16. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I am this woman, dwell in this one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger there, and there was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. And this woman child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me while a handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, the one said, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other said, No, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said unto them, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living children in two, and give half to the one, and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son, and she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor hers, but divided. This morning our key verse is number 27. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. This morning, I want to begin by saying Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers and under the sound of my voice. Also, a Happy Mother's Day to those mothers that have been called home. Even though they've called home, they still had the opportunity to instill some mother instincts in the children. We want to be thankful unto those mothers as well. As I said, although they are not present with us today, we all probably can remember something about mother. Something the way she did, or something the way something she said. All of us, whether alive or living, we all remember something about mother. This morning I want to speak, as I said, we spoke from 1 Kings 3, 16 through 28. I want to use for a subject text this morning, if it wasn't for mother. If it wasn't for mother. This morning, church, my heart rejoiced this morning when I got this message today, because I can think back on a lot of things and say, if it wasn't for mother. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure someone out in the under sound of my voice, when they heard this message, just thought about some of the things that they've gone through, some of the difficulties they had to endure, the love, the care. If it had not been, if it wasn't for my mother. Think about it. Oh boy, if it wasn't for my mother. I will tell you that mothers are one of a kind. Mothers are unique. Mothers are something else. It is something about a mother. They are truly a gift, a blessing from God. Mothers are so important that God used them to replenish the earth. We know that everything that had life comes from a mother. Talking about Mother's Day. As I said earlier, mothers are God's gift to us. And as I have opportunity to listen and hear people reach their goal, find that special job, get selected at perfect team, many times I hear them say, I want to thank this teacher. I want to thank this professor. I want to thank this educator. They talk about how they have made such a change in their life, and that's fine and dandy. But I stand today to say, still, if it wasn't for mother, what would we be? Think on that for a moment. If it wasn't for mother, what would we be? If it wasn't for mother, where would we be? Church, this is a very strong message today. This is an eye-opener, a reminder of this day that has been set aside for Mother's Day. If it wasn't for Mother, what would we be? I can say that mothers have been a stronghold in the families for a long time. Even when fathers and men couldn't do it, mothers found a way. Amen? If it hadn't been for mothers, what would we be? Where would we be? How would we be? As I think on teachers, and I think on scholars, and I think about those professors, I do commend them on the great works, their diplomas and the things that they went to achieve that. But even before children came to school, that mother had to teach them some things. Even before they was accepted into kindergarten, that mother had to teach them how to count. That mother had to teach them how to say their ABCs. That mother had to teach them how to say yes ma'am, no ma'am. That mother had to teach them how to say yes and no. Mothers had to teach them how to crawl. Mothers had to teach them how to walk. Mothers had to teach them how to talk. And not to take away from men that had to play the mother and father role in the lives of their children. Because Father Day is coming and you will have your time. But today we're talking about if it had not been for mothers. Church, as we look back at our childhood and the things growing up, our mothers was busy. Our mothers were not only busy, but they were very busy. Cooking, cleaning, washing, teaching, potty training, combing hair, washing hair, pressing clothes, and not to leave out all of our nicks and cuts. Yes, mother even had to be the nurse. Our mothers cared for us. Our mothers supported us. Our mothers encouraged us. Our mothers was there to listen and give us advice. And yes, our mothers also had to discipline us and teach us what not to touch. The mothers had to teach us what not to get into. Perhaps someone doesn't recall the role of the mother today. Our mothers did everything from diapers to suits and dresses. I'm looking at our key verse 27. I'm reminded of a show on TV called The Maury Show, and it is based on a series of DNA results. And many times results came back, you are not the father. Many times the results came back, you are the father. But I have never heard or seen a show where they say, you are the mother, or you are not the mother. In our key text today, the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother. Our sermon text consists of two hearted texts. It came to Solomon, looking for answers to find out who was the real mother. Earlier in our sermon text reading today, if you look back, which I didn't include in text, verses 3 through 9, you will find when the Lord came to visit Solomon in a dream. And the Lord said unto Solomon, ask what I shall, and I will give unto thee. And Solomon responded, thou hast showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according as he has walked before thee, in touch with righteousness and uprightness of heart. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. God, please give me an understanding heart, that I may be able to discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this so great of a people? And God answered unto him in verse 11 and 14, because Solomon had opportunity to say anything he wanted, put in anything that he wished he had. But Solomon didn't ask for riches. He asked for the life. He didn't ask for the life of an enemy, but he asked for understanding. I have according to your will. He had given Solomon the wisdom to discern right and wrong. And this is where we come to our text today. The Bible tells us two harlots living in the same house both came up pregnant at the same time. However, on the third day, one of the babies passed away that night because she overlaid on it. However, after finding out her baby had died, while the handmaid slept, the other woman traded out the children. But it's hard to fool a real mother. It's hard to fool a mother. But the Bible says when the mother, the living mother, woke up to feed the baby, this is where she found out, this is not my baby. So they argued about who the baby belonged to. When they couldn't come to a conclusion, they both came before the king to let him handle it. So as they both pleaded their case, still arguing about who is the mother, who is the real mother. So finally Solomon came up with a solution. So remember, Solomon asked God for wisdom. Solomon said unto his servants, bring me a sword. And they brought the sword before the king. And the king advised them to divide the child in two, and give half to one mother and the other half to the other. One woman said, oh no, king, let it not be mine or hers. And the other one said, and divide it. And then the other woman said in verse 6, oh my Lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. Then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it, because she is the mother. Happy Mother's Day to you. Where one woman wanted to have the child divided into two pieces, what a perfect illustration of our sermon text if it wasn't for mother. This child would have been dead. The true mother knows her child. A true mother loves her children. A true mother fights for her children. A true mother protects her children. A true mother will go all out, all the way for her children. A true mother will do without for her children. A true mother will sacrifice for her children. If it wasn't for mother, let's think about it today, church. If it wasn't for mother, because a true mother cares for her children. A true mother don't mind going to bat for their children. A true mother trains their children. If it wasn't for mother, a true mother even disciplined her children. I thank God for the love I got from my mother. I thank God for the care I got from my mother. I thank God for the protection I got from my mother. And also thank God for mothers doing without so that I may have. I thank God for mothers doing so many things in our lives. I even thank God for the spankings I got from mother. Church, I could go on and on about mother. I thank God for being here today. If it wasn't for mother, what would we be? If it wasn't for mother, who would we be? Without that unconditional love, without those sacrifices, without that discipline, without that BTU, without that Sunday school, without that early going to church, without that early upbringing, who and what on where will we be? The Bible said, train up a child where he should go when he's young. Guess what? That's mean when he's with his mother. If it wasn't for mother, thank God for mothers. Thank God for having them in his plans, because all of us that's living was born of a mother. So today, church, I want you to rejoice. I want you to think about that and carry on, not this day, but the days are coming throughout the months and years. If it wasn't for mother. Thank God for you mothers. Happy Mother's Day. May God bless you this day. Pray that you will not hide this in your heart, but you share it with someone else, because a blessing isn't a blessing until you share it with someone else. May you be richly blessed this day and the days to come. God bless you.